The Winona City Council gave their stamp of approval to plans for the redevelopment of Winona's Levee Park last night. During a pre-council information session where the plans were first presented, Councilmember Michelle Alexander commended the Levee Park Committee for the new plan.
When you look at Levee Park right now, there's not a lot of visual stimulation, and then on top of that you took a very large document from the University of Minnesota which had things in it that I think were not for Winona, and you somehow broke it down into something that I think is doable. It's a great vision for the City Council and the staff to work from. I think there are so many elements that are appealing and will increase the use of that area.
I like the fact that you priority rank these because I think it really enables us to line up the funding for it and for people to see a visual progress as the priority is worked through. And I think that's very helpful so that we're not running in 15 different places at the same time and nobody getting to see anything completed.
The 45-minute presentation laid out plans to create a more user-friendly park with a host of amenities, including a performance area, a sculpture garden, and play and picnic areas that include an inclusive playground and an interactive water feature. Community Services Director Chad Ubel said many of those improvements will need the approval of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
And then we also placed, there are elements within this, within these recommendations that need Corps approval from a permit standpoint that wouldn't need a fully engineered design, but we want to make sure that the Corps knew about them. But many of the recommendations, things like the fill, anything that impacts that levee wall would need a fully engineered design and Corps approval.
Approvals would also be needed by Union Pacific Railroad for plans to clean up a portion of the unused switch yard, including removal of a fence to improve access to the park. And while the overall plan was well received by council members, some had reservations about particular elements within it.
I would like to see that fence remain, clean up the area fine, but I would hate to see that fence removed because that's a good separation right now from railroad traffic to the Levee Park. So
I'm a little concerned about putting a playground down by the moving river, but that's minor. I'm not necessarily in favor of having a fixed stage structure. I'd like to see something that could be moved or shifted on not only the patio, but would allow the patio to be used for other things other than just stage performances. But on the whole, I think this is a pretty outstanding presentation.
Ubel stated that it would take a combination of public and city funding to make the improvements.
What the committee has suggested that staff present is that the staff and additional resources be applied to explore funding mechanisms identified in the chart that you just saw. Really what that means in another way is that if we're going to go out and try and raise private dollars or do some fundraising for Levee Park, that staff would need time and additional resources to do that.
Work will be completed in stages. The first areas to be addressed will be improving the park entrance at the foot of Main Street, making repairs to the patio area, and the cleanup of the rail switchyard area. The city has budgeted $100,000 for the project this year. Much of that money will be used for engineering and design work.